Dear viewer, welcome to Spotlight. With me tonight, a good friend of mine, a good friend of the community, a person who make a lot of things happening, Dr. Tarek Sobh, the president of Lawrence Tech University. Dr. Sobh, welcome again to MEA.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a pleasure
Thank you.
being here with you as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Sobh, honestly, I'm impressed wherever I go, if it's Middle Eastern event or American event or any event, I see you there.
I'm everywhere. I
You know, talking to people.
But you know, artificial intelligence enabled me to duplicate myself and clone myself. That's why.
But that could happen soon, though.
I hope not.
And this is the subject we're going to talk about.
Interesting.
Artificial intelligence, the AI. Tell me how that start and what's behind it.
I mean, the genesis of artificial intelligence has been decades and decades in the making. I mean, since 70 or 80 or more years ago. I mean, the whole idea was to try and create a sentient being, some entity, right, using computing or computing devices or electronic devices that is able to reason on its own, analyze data on its own, react to situations mimicking human behavior, right?
Okay.
And we all know the story of Alan Turing, and how the genesis of the Turing machine, which really was at the infancy of the proposition of artificial intelligence, and at that time, the proposition was if you are able to communicate with a device, right, either in writing or via communication, and not know that that is a computer or a device and think it's a human, then that's the epitome of artificial intelligence. You have achieved, quote unquote, artificial intelligence. So the genesis of artificial intelligence was being able to simulate or to program a behavior into a machine or a computer that would make it indistinguishable from a human, right? I mean, that was the beginnings of AI.
Mm-hmm. What's the difference and the robot?
No, robot is a mechanism. I mean, robot is a physical device, an electromechanical system, a device, which could be a device that's a manipulator in an automotive factory. It could be a device like an unmanned air vehicle, UAVs, drones.
Okay.
It could be a device like a humanoid robot, for example, right? These are all electromechanical devices that basically are very structurally advanced, so they can walk, they can be a mobile,
yes.
or not so human. Actually, they are supposed to do unhuman things. They are supposed to do things that are very difficult for humans to do. Meaning, robot is a platform, right, that can be programmed to mimic behaviors, right? So, for example, if you have a robotic device in a factory, a manipulator, that is better in many ways than having factory workers do things with their hand. Yes. Because these robotic devices and articulated manipulators are capable of carrying very significant loads that humans cannot do. They don't get tired. They are much more efficient. They are much more precise.
No union, no day offs.
Let's not even go there. But the point is, it's not. It does tasks that are either uncomfortable, unsafe, or impossible to do by humans.
Yes.
Cleaning the core of a nuclear reactor. Well,
That's
you
right.
don't want humans there.
Of course.
Carrying incredible weights, 24/7 to assemble a car and to paint and to weld. Okay. That's not a job that's good for human health, right?
Yes.
So and then of course over time that progressed, right? So these robots did not only become stationary, they became mobile, so they can move around on mobile platforms. And later these robots became unmanned air vehicles and drones that can fly in the air without a pilot, right?
Okay.
And they became, autonomous submersibles that can go under the sea for search and rescue.
Sure.
And they are everywhere right
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
But again, the point is, and we'll talk about AI and I for a
Yeah,
second.
that's what go ahead. Yeah.
So the idea with robotics, which is my area to be very
Absolutely.
honest, is not to put people out of a job, is to actually make people's job much more efficient and much more conducive to safety and much
Yes.
more reliable. So the field of robotics is meant to complement humans who are capable of doing other things, like teleoperating these robots, programming these robots,
Yes.
thinking of cool applications that these robots can do in a much more efficient and accurate manner, ranging from, again, being in a factory floor to robots that help perform very delicate surgeries, to robots that are able to do things like, drones that can do mapping in 3D,
Okay.
to robotic applications in even war applications and army applications. But again, since we were talking about AI and you asked about the relationship, AI is the programming mechanism
Of the
that
robot.
enables you to program not only robots,
Yeah, for
but
example,
many different
what-
types of systems.
And I'm going to ask you, for example, let's
Sure.
start with medicine.
Sure.
How could we advance the medicine through AI?
Okay. So, good. So, AI is basically a way to program, right?
Okay.
Program devices, right? These devices could be, as we mentioned, robotic devices. They could be devices.
Can be human too? Can it be human too?
Well, I mean, I don't know about programming myself, but we'll go there because
Yeah.
Elon Musk
Yes.
is inserting things in
Yeah,
people's
that's
brain
what-
and make them smarter. But let's take it one
Let's
step at a
take-
time.
exactly,
Let's
yeah,
start
okay.
with the simple and then we go to the
Okay.
exotic. So, as an example, since you're asking about AI applications in medicine,
Yes.
one of the most pervasive applications is in reading of MRIs and CAT scans and X-rays and EEGs. So as an example, what makes a human radiologist, a physician, very well-known or very distinguished in her or his field is the capability of diagnosing things like MRIs, CAT scans, well, when they read the MRIs
Yes.
or CAT scans, right? And the more experienced the doctor, the better it is, right? So if you have a radiologist, a physician who have seen 10,000 images of CAT scans, MRIs, and was trained on the diagnosis of these different images, the more they read, the more they diagnose, the more experience that they
course.
get. So
Yeah.
whatever they see is most likely going to be something that they stumbled upon before. That makes a radiologist experience. It's the study of thousands of these images, MRIs, and being able to learn for each image what a specific spot in an image mean, what a break is, and so on and so forth, right?
Yes.
So with artificial intelligence, the capability of using pattern recognition, computer vision, and understanding different parts of imagery or MRIs or CAT scans or even EEG signals, right? When you're doing brain EEG or EKG signals when you're doing heart
No,
EKG.
yeah.
You can use artificial intelligence and train using machine learning a program over 100 million such images. So you can actually make
So
a
we are way advanced
so
by
it's,
using the
so
AI.
it's going to be 100 times more accurate and experienced
Yes.
than your average radiologist because it has seen it all. It
Yes.
has not only seen 10,000, MRIs and its associated diagnosis and got trained on doing it, but it got trained on a huge data set of maybe 100 million as opposed to 10,000,
10,000,
right?
exactly.
And has seen it all and is able to reason based on that extensive knowledge and being trained on this large data set, so it would do much accurate diagnosis of MRIs, CAT scans, and X-rays. That's an example. Another example is in the area of
Automotive, let's say.
no, that's even still before automotive
Okay,
to the
To
area of medicine.
Medical, yeah.
You have robotic surgery now, right? So you have robots like the Da Vinci platform,
Yes.
which helps experienced surgeons in very delicate surgeries, right? So now you're able to do things like hysterectomies and other many orthopedic surgery using very, very small incisions, which helps the healing time
Yes.
and helps for a better, more accurate, more precise surgery on human beings, right?
Yes.
And one such famous platform is called the Da Vinci platform, which is a manipulator with several arms that can be teleoperated by a surgeon and does this much more accurately than the fingers of a surgeon, right? Couple this with AI, right?
Wow.
So now you have this incredibly accurate and very minutely invasive end effector as opposed to human fingers doing very precise surgeries. And if you program this using MRIs and CAT scans and X-rays that we talked about,
Yes.
it might be able, using its cameras or 3D rangefinders or laser rangefinders, to not only go in and follow exactly what the surgeon is doing, it might be able to do reasoning after you open the body and look with these cameras and MRIs and X-rays and maybe even laser rangefinders at the actual problem area inside the body and be able to suggest corrective surgeries to the actual surgeon,
Wow.
right?
That's a
So-
huge advance. You know?
Oh, I mean, that's coming. So
Yeah.
now you're not only talking about robotic surgery, but now your approach, or in the case of Da Vinci, teleoperated, remotely operated, very exquisite robotic manipulators. Now you're talking about nearly tele-autonomous. Not only is it able to do the surgeries based on the surgeon's feedback and manipulation, but also suggest things that can be done based on what its cameras can see.
Yes.
And who knows, maybe 50 years from now,
That could-
there will be no reason for the surgeon to exist.
That's right.
So it can autonomously, on its own, go in, take a look at the X-rays. Of course, people think I'm talking science fiction, or we are.
No, it's real.
But it's not really. We're
I
getting,
mean, it's
we're getting
talking of the
very,
town.
very close.
Yes.
Close. So you will have the patient come in. That patient is going to be diagnosed and will be
Yes.
scanned, MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, etc. We will know via these scans and the artificial intelligence diagnosis of these scans where the problem inside the body is. And then the robotic surgeon, which is one of these, will
will
go
do
in,
it neat.
open,
Huh?
and even do more accurate diagnosis after opening the body and recommend different and better ways and doing it on its own with very minimal guidance, maybe from an experienced surgeon in a much more accurate manner. So,
So
the scope of things that are coming up,
Yeah.
and not only in this area, but even in areas like genetics and and coming up with personalized medicine. I mean, think of that other area.
Let's talk about that medicine.
Right. So
To recommend the right medicine for the right.
I mean, again, medicine is not totally quote unquote personalized right now. You get prescribed medicines that exist, right, by your physician based on the ailment or the disease that you have, right?
Yes.
But every human body is different in its reaction to different medicines
medicine, yeah.
and how the medicines work, right? So think about this. Wouldn't it be cool that using, again, very deep analytics, being able to find based on your own physiology, based on your own anatomy, the way your body reacts to different external stimulants, whether they are stimulants exterior or things that you drink or get injected, and come up with the best personalized medicine for your body for a specific disease.
Oh, wow.
So it would be, the Wali medicine for headache,
Yeah.
or the Wali medicine for dealing with cholesterol. That would be personalized based on your own DNA, your own genetics, your own anatomy and physiology and your numbers, and would be most effective for you. And it would be on demand. It wouldn't be like something you get prescribed. No, you get diagnosed. Maybe you will get diagnosed not even using a doctor anymore, because you'll be talking with a machinery or or a humanoid or a system and you will be explaining what your problems are. I have a headache, I have this feeling, 3 days ago I had this pain in this area, whatever.
We'll
So that
analyze it
machinery,
and
so
give you
that
the
piece of machinery
yeah.
is going to scan you, right?
Yes.
And order or maybe withdraw some blood and do the diagnosis on the blood, right? Do the
Yes,
blood
of
testing.
course, yeah.
And in a day or two, it will come and will tell you, okay, so you don't need surgery, but you need this very specific medicine. And based on your body and physiology, we have created a version that will be most effective for you, given your own physiology. And here it is.
Wow.
And it would create it for you and manufacture it for you or inject it in you, right?
Yes.
It is kind of like really strange thinking about this, but the reality is this is where we're headed, because the basic functions, right, the basic functions, when you think about the process of diagnosis of a disease or an ailment, involves interviewing, right?
Yes.
The doctor asking very detailed question, the doctor making
Diagnose
the links,
yeah.
making links in her or his head about, okay, these 3 or 4 symptoms could mean one of these 100 different possible problems. And then by asking more questions, narrowing it down to maybe 7 different possibilities, right?
Yes.
And then after they are narrowed down to these 6 or 7 possibilities of either one disease or a combination of diseases, they would order testing to eliminate some of these possibilities. And this testing could be blood tests, right? Tissue tests,
Yes.
or MRIs or CAT scans or EKGs or X-rays or EEGs.
But very high advance of that.
And based on
Yeah.
all of these tests, there will be a further process of elimination of these possibilities and narrowing it down to 1 or 2. And these 1 or 2 possibilities could require either medication, right? Or require surgery, or none, right?
That's
Maybe
right,
it's
yeah.
a different change in
Yeah.
lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
When you think about the basic functions of the logic of asking questions, that's another expert system type of applications for artificial intelligence. How to ask the questions, navigate the possibilities of different diseases, narrowing it down to a permutation or a combination of things. And again, good doctors have this knowledge. They know if you feel pain in this area, it could be this or this, like 7 different things.
Yes.
But if that pain is coupled with a headache or coupled with, whatever, coughing, then that narrows it down to 3 or 4 other possibilities. And if that is coupled with a difficulty in movement or 3 or 4, so these are the questions that, based on the experience
Yes.
and having talked with individuals and knowing what physiology and anatomy is about, that's what doctors do. They ask all of these questions to eliminate different possibilities and focus on a set of possibilities to a point where it's more than one possibility in their mind, and that's when they would require testing, or if it's only one possibility, they might not even require testing. The basic functions, like the reasoning based on the different set of the tree of possibilities, right, let's say, is something that a very well programmed machine, or in this case an AI algorithm, can learn on its own after being fed lots of different, possible diagnoses
Yes.
and learning the actual physiology and anatomy involved and what the relationships are between symptoms and potential diseases, and it can do automatic diagnosis. So you can have automatic diagnosis of problems, right? Right?
To your body, of course.
Automatic testing and automatic recognition and automatic diagnosis of test results after that first steps, and then automatic dispensation of potential medicine that is manufactured on demand for your own physiology and body type, followed by potentially autonomous surgery if that is needed. So at every step of the way, whether it's in the analysis, diagnosis initially, to reading of scans, to prescription and manufacture of medicine, to surgery, every step of the way could be very highly automated via artificial intelligence technique that involve analytics, computer vision and understand and machine perception,
Yes.
and other types of techniques. So that's where we're really headed.
Yeah.
If that
Does that mean we have the advance with the doctors and medicine and all that, and we bring in the AI to it,
Wait,
which
so
is which is take it to a completely different
right.
bubble.
So now we are, at the point where, lots and lots of the work is done by great physicians, right, and surgeons,
Yes.
with the complement of AI, right?
Right.
Whether
Yes.
it's, tele-autonomous surgery or
Yes.
limited diagnosis or, several fields or some analytics and data help for the doctor to do diagnosis. So it's going to continue to shift. So you will see the doctors doing more of the programming,
Yes, with help
doing
of
more,
from-
doing
yeah.
more of the guiding of this machinery,
Yes.
doing more of programming actually the algorithms to do better diagnosis based on their experience,
I see.
doing more of the teleoperation or tele-autonomous guidance and operation, doing more of the research
Yes.
about new medicines, new techniques to help the human body, new drugs, new
Medicines,
ideas
yeah,
for
yeah,
surgeries
yeah,
that can be
yeah.
programmed into these robots, and the actual mechanical, mundane, or I would say type of work could be done by these AI machine learning based systems. So it's a shift over time.
I see.
So doctors will be doing high level functions of research, development of these devices, development of the algorithms, and the doctors and the healthcare workers of the future, Wally, are gonna not only be trained in healthcare or or traditional, let's say, healthcare, they will be needing to be trained in medtech and health tech.
Yes.
So all of the doctors and physicians and nurses
Yes.
and PAs and cardiovascular perfusions and physical therapists, because that's going to be a completely new world with
Yes.
machinery helping people with physical therapy, occupational therapy. I mean, dentistry even,
Everything,
and
yeah.
3D, construction
course.
of dental implants on the fly that is more accurate or as accurate as what's happening right now.
Yes.
You will see that all of these type of healthcare workers of the future, a significant part of their education and training will be in medical technologies and health technologies,
Absolutely.
where they learn not only to use these devices and AI techniques and algorithms and potential robotic devices, but to how to build them, to make them better,
Better,
how
yeah.
to program them better,
Yes.
how to design cooler ones that are more accurate.
Yes.
So it will be a blend. The physician of the future, the healthcare worker of the future, the dentist of the future, the nurse of the future will need to be eminently trained in health technologies, AI, machine learning, and they will be the ones who come up and design these amazing devices. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
Meaning
To make
that
it better and better. Yeah.
better and more accurate. And
yeah.
so it's a blend of disciplines. There is no more like, mechanical engineer by her or himself, or a healthcare worker by her or himself, or a physician. There will be a need for more interdisciplinary trained professionals who can work in every job is a tech job in the future, Wally.
That's right.
Every job, every company, as they
Let's,
say, is
let's take
technology
this
company.
idea to automotive and
Sure.
advanced technology.
Sure.
Tell me how that could help them.
I mean, we're seeing a shift. Look at this region, right? Where I am at Lawrence Technological University, the preeminent university in the region for graduating, technologically trained professionals in engineering and science and architecture and design. I mean, world class. For example, the auto industry 15 years ago only hired our mechanical and manufacturing engineers, right? Now, look at that industry. They're hiring
Everything
everyone.
in computer.
They are hiring.
You look at the car.
They are
it's all-
hiring computer science
Yes,
students,
yeah.
information technology, cybersecurity,
Yes.
people who specialize in technological ethics. They are hiring electrical engineers, computer engineers, systems engineers, bioengineers to help with the sensory devices and tracking of movement, psychology majors who are trained on the usage of technology in psychology and diagnosis. They are hiring across the board because look at the car of the future.
Yes.
Look at the transport of the future. Look at smart cities. Look at mobility. It's a completely different world. Now, in the future, you need people who know how to program these, vehicles, whatever they are, whether they are, flying cars, because that's happening right now.
Sure,
They
yeah.
exist. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you know, in a few years,
It's, if
you'll
they
be,
control the air traffic.
So now, oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they will.
yeah.
So now you're talking about machinery that has cameras, and the
Yes.
cameras needs to be programmed to program the environment. You're talking about cars and or airplanes or all of them, and cities and buildings that are interconnected and know each other where each other are to avoid accidents. You're talking
Well,
about
traffic control, you know, that's,
and
they
traffic
could solve
control
this.
and
we
city
all set.
control, exactly.
Yes, yeah.
You're talking about, you know, machinery inside the vehicle.
Yeah.
If you are still the one driving and it's not autonomous, that's tracking your eyes, that's tracking the way your hand moves to wake you up if you're sleeping,
Yes.
or, you know, to tell you
Or
to
you get
not
close to the car.
right,
you know,
or
yeah.
tell you don't drive if you are, you know, impaired, or, you know, or had a drink or two.
Yes.
So
Is
so,
that part
so
of the AI?
100%.
Yeah,
So basically, again, artificial intelligence is going to be the one that you use to program computer vision algorithms to look at your eyes and your gaze while you're driving. It's going to be the one that looks at the scenery, you know, surrounding the car and making predictions about the movement of pedestrians and the movement, you know, of other cars. It's, you know,
Yes.
to prevent accidents.
yeah.
It's going to be actually the one that would make decisions, God forbid, if there is an accident or if a natural event happens and a problem could occur, to minimize damage and loss of human life.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
you have all of these suite of sensors, and these sensors provide a ton of data in real time. They are ultrasonic sensors, they are infrared sensors, they are camera, you know, stereo data coming in at video frame, not only from one camera, but maybe 15 cameras surrounding the car, ultrasonic sensors, laser range finding data, in addition to the environmental data being supplied, not only from the vehicle itself, but from the surrounding entities.
Exactly.
And the analysis using artificial intelligence, pattern recognition, computer vision, signal processing has to be done in real time. And probably not on board, but probably using the cloud processors, you know, otherwhere, your communication
Yes.
on this humongous set of data in real time, and accordingly make real-time decisions, whether to accelerate, whether to stop, whether to provide advice, right?
Probably
And-
be almost zero accident.
Well,
when we
that's the
reach to
point.
that
I mean, the
point.
reason
Yeah.
people now are afraid, you know, to basically give control to cars that have, you know, some form of autonomous navigation,
Yes.
because they exist
It's awesome.
now.
Yeah.
The problem is, well, you know, we don't know what the other cars are doing. You know
Yes.
what I mean? So you're afraid. What if this car cuts in front of me? What if something falls? Well, the point is, when all the cars are talking to each other,
Yes.
and you know the location
And
of
that will
everything,
come.
that, of course, it's coming.
Yeah.
Then there is nothing going to be safer than giving control to the vehicle, because it knows everything else surrounding it, and vice versa. It becomes a much safer drive. I mean, and it's going to be time that humans can gain, that they don't need, that they don't have right now, because they have to drive or do other things
Yes.
to do other things.
And same with
Yeah.
other manufacturers, not just the car.
Of course,
automotive.
I mean, and
You
when
know,
we're talking about cars, we talk
yeah.
about
military.
We're talking about mobility, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not the cars, it's
Yeah.
cars and smart cities.
Yeah.
It's even autonomous planes. It's, you know, vehicles that drive, you know, or you know, boats. It's every form of mobility, not only for civilian applications, but
Yes.
as you say, for cargo transport, for military applications, and all of that. I mean, talking about military applications, the war of the future, and you're seeing remnants of that now in the Ukraine.
There's
Russia.
no human involved.
In the Ukraine-Russia war, this actually is the first, you know, war that happens where you see the amazing dependency on drones
Yes.
and teleoperated and tele-autonomous weaponry, right?
Yes.
The military of the future, not that we want any wars of any kind, hopefully that wouldn't be needed, but the war of the future is going to be an autonomous war. What people joke about saying it's a remote-controlled war. Oh, it's going to be remote-controlled, and the decisions being made in the war, many of them are not going to be made at the top brass level. It's going to be autonomous decisions made by machinery on the ground in real time.
Yeah.
And whether that's, you know, unmanned, you know, air vehicles and drones, or, you know,
So you don't need no army. You need intelligent people.
Remote controlled the projectiles
Exactly.
and missiles.
Yes.
Or all of that. Whether it's even unmanned air vehicles and large groups walking around. The concept of and that's one of the things that our great military is looking forward to. They don't want humans to be harmed, right? So
Yes.
if there is conflict, God forbid, the army of the future that is being aspired to,
Yeah.
which is of course a scary proposition to be very honest, but that's the way it is.
But that's the future.
Is going to be an army of autonomous or completely autonomous or semi-autonomous, moving platforms and vehicles, or drones, or seafaring boats, or a combination of all of these things. And of course, there is nothing scary than seeing, as you see in Arnold Schwarzenegger old movies, a humanoid robot carrying a weapon. But it is happening.
Yeah.
I mean, there were, some instances, and you can look this up, where things like assassinations were actually carried by moving platforms and autonomous car equipped with a machine gun, right? And both are autonomous, based on machine vision recognizing targets. But again, it is a scary proposition, and I'm not talking here about killer robots or anything, but actually I am in some ways. I mean, the future.
Well, be honest with you, this is the future.
The future of warfare is very, very, very different, and who knows? Maybe the autonomy and the level of, and of course you get all of the science fiction, and we were all raised on science fiction. What if a program goes and becomes sentient, and it is programmed in a way to machine learn and not listen to any more orders being given. All of this interesting stuff. We have to be careful, is what I'm trying to say. We just have to be very careful. The realm of machine learning and algorithms learning what to do in very good applications like surgery, or very scary applications like war-type applications, or mobility applications.
Or spying.
All of that combined.
Spying on the regular people.
Well, I have been for many years, and that's what I always tell my children and my wife. I have been assuming for the last 15 years that there is somebody 5,000 miles away from where I live who knows everything about me.
That's right.
From my mother's maiden name
now.
to everything in my bank account. So I always work with the assumption that my life is an open book.
Or your phone is all tapped and everything.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but it's close. We have to, of course, be very careful, but this is the way with it. I mean, look at even mundane application. Well, I wouldn't say there is a word. I mean, simple things like your accounting, doing your taxes.
Yes.
All of these, your basic financial well-being.
You have to advance
how to manage your portfolio of investments. These are all mundane tasks that, to be very honest, are already being automated right now.
Yes.
Why do you have to even sit and look at how much you spent and try to take deductions, or why would a corporate do that? The accounts are there, the categories are there. If you have a good algorithm, it should be able to go through every transaction that a person or a company has done over the years, right? Over the last year. Figure out which ones are deductible, which ones is investments, which ones is capital gains, within micro, nanoseconds. Analyze all of this data and come up with the absolute perfect formula for your situation as an individual, as a business. File your taxes, do your accounting. All of this is stuff that people should not be spending any time on anymore, So whether it's accounting, whether it's, as we talked, medical applications, I mean, look at
or advanced.
I mean, look at I mean, in a place like Lawrence Tech, when we heard about, when last several months there was this big craze about ChatGPT and our students gonna use this to cheat. We laughed because of course of who we are. I mean, we've been using AI in design applications for like 20 years, embedded in the curriculum.
A lot of people don't believe that you have it.
Well, I mean, we've been using generative AI, and we had conversations about this, 2-3 years ago.
I use it myself.
Everyone does now, but we've been using this in our curriculum. So for us, we're not worried about students, cheating when they use ChatGPT. No, we encourage them to be more productive by using generative AI, not only to create text, but to create images and buildings and 3D structures and machinery and use it, you know, in a great way to reduce the amount of time and to make it much more efficient so they can be more productive. I'll give you a very trivial example.
Sure.
So, you know, I mean, so I live on campus, right? And in the president's residence
Yes.
on campus. And, you know, we have lots of events that we host. And, you know, I mean, inside the house sometimes, but outside the house, sometimes we get tents, right?
Yes.
We get big tents. It's a pain to put them and then take them out when you have an event. So we thought, well, we should have a permanent gazebo, right?
Yeah.
That would fit 100 people. So
Exactly.
that when our great alumni come and our,
Yes.
and we have events
And
for
you
our
have a lot
faculty
of-
and
a
staff,
lot
it would
of
be
that.
next to the house. So, but we wanted something that would look nice, that would fit with the environment,
Yes.
because the house is in the woods, right? Surrounded by woods or whatever. But also a structure that would be in line with our technological character at the university, very futuristic, you know, outlook on technology.
Yes.
And also a structure that would be easily maintainable, so we don't have to spend a lot of money to maintain, right? And of the right size and whatever. So you know, I was just chit-chatting with some of our colleagues in the College of Architecture, right?
Yes.
And Design, who've been using AI for ages
Oh.
to generate 3D structures and buildings
Yes,
and whatever.
yeah.
Amazing stuff. I mean, incredible. Actually, our College of Architecture and Design is probably the one in the whole nation who has most embraced
Wow.
AI and technology. They do amazing stuff, not only in architectural design and 3D structures, but in transportation design and interior design. And it's all using generative AI that they have learned how to use incredibly efficiently, and they are developing themselves, these
Yes.
algorithms. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So I was just chit-chatting, you know, with a few of my colleagues in the Dilo School. So, you know, we really need to come up with a great design, something simple, not expensive, easy maintainable, but, you know, projects, you know, for our alumni and donors, this nice image, you know,
Yes.
of the
Of
technological
course,
university
yeah.
of the future,
Because
given how
who we
eminent we are,
yeah.
but also fits with the environment because
Yeah.
we're in, you know, in nature. I said, yeah, we'll come up with something and we'll get back to you. So I was thinking they'll come up with something like in a month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and groups will work with it. And then, you know, next day I'm getting an email. Oh, here are a few designs.
Wow.
And I'm looking at the designs. They look like something from Star Trek, like incredible, incredible looking, very cool designs,
Yeah.
and made
Because
with
they have it.
and
You
they
know,
had made with material that's
Yeah.
incredible, and it's futuristic and it fits. And they had, you know, all of like, you know, simulated, you know, gatherings and videos. How the hell did you do this in like 3 hours? Well,
Yes.
They
Because they
input
have
they
the-
input all of the parameters,
Yes.
and they did good prompt engineering in the, you know, in using generative AI, but not for generating text,
Yes.
for generating 3D images and structures.
Exactly.
And it came up with 10 incredible
Beautiful
designs
one. Yeah.
in minutes.
Yeah, because they have the technology.
Yeah, I mean, the future is very different.
Yeah.
And you know what? They didn't waste time or their students' time. The students participated because they knew the basics and how to prompt it right
Exactly.
and give it the primitives of the design. So they did their job.
Yes.
And this gave them suggestions. They narrowed it down and they came up with world-class, amazing designs, exactly fitting our criteria in no time. That's the future. Not
That's right.
only of generative AI for 3D structures and buildings, but for building cars.
Everything, building cars,
building-
building homes,
for building
machinery.
machinery.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, in my
Yeah.
own area, right?
Yes.
Lots of amazing existing software and hardware to design airplanes and factory floors. I started plugging in some of these generative AI modules, and the job that I did as a mechanical / electrical robotics engineer,
Yes.
that would have taken me like weeks to do, to put the right, you know, machinery together and the
Yes.
control systems and do simulations and do
You could put it in
PD
no time,
control, I
probably.
mean, control systems in place. These plugins enable you to do that work in a tiny fraction of the time.
Yes. Because
And,
you have
and provide you with multiple alternatives to choose from. It's a
Okay.
brand new world.
Yes, right.
Clothing design, car
Everything,
design,
everything. Yeah.
transportation
Well,
design.
Dr. Sobh, we broadcast in every state of the nation.
Sure.
And there is people, when they hear what you're talking, is he For real?
Oh, 100%. I think I am.
He said to himself,
Oh,
how
yeah.
could I use that artificial intelligence? I mean, individual person who, for example, in
Sure.
gas stations or in the factories, or not advanced with computer, how could he use it?
Everyone is using it. Our, great, workers in the university are using it to create,
Yeah, but that's in your
text, whatever.
university.
Or
But
in
individual
I
person
understand.
who doesn't,
Or in companies, when you're searching for things and searching to find, doctors or lawyers or
yes,
engineers or help to fix something, right? And I'm gonna try to,
go with the
I'll give you
logic.
an example.
Yeah,
Say it at that level.
yeah,
I mean, well, if you're, for example, searching for a physician for a particular
yes.
type of surgery,
Or
you,
I have,
you can Google, for example, to find out on your phone.
I have
Anybody can do
illness.
that.
I wanna search my illness.
Right.
For example.
But well, I mean, if as you get more proficient, right, and with things, whether it's for an illness or finding a particular professional to help you,
yes.
you can use to some of these generative AI tools, including ChatGPT, to ask very
Any
specific
more
questions.
websites?
Any specific questions. And
Yes.
there are several sites.
There
I'm not
is,
gonna,
yeah.
but I mean, you can go and say, okay, I'd like to know the names of the professionals who
Yes.
have done this particular project
I could do
within
this.
time frame
Yes.
and will cost less than that much, to give you a list. And then you tell, okay, how many of them had good ratings? How many of them, whatever? It will explain that to you and give
Yes.
you a listing. How many people work in each one of these companies and how
Yes.
fast can they get things done? And it will give you examples. And if it doesn't, you can ask. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
If you're asking,
Yeah.
if you want to find help for a lawyer.
I have a
Yeah.
project I want to do,
Yeah.
and I want to search how to do this project.
Right, exactly. And,
Yeah.
and again, you can do this the old way or the classical way. And,
Yeah.
and again, so many of these generative AI tools help is make connections for you, right? So as opposed to doing 200 different Google searches and getting lost,
Yeah.
it helps you with the right prompting to pull things together and organize them for you and make connections so you can have a better idea without having to do 100 Google searches,
That's right, yeah.
Because you can ask all you want and it will make the connections for you. Many of these can help you compose music. Many of these can help you create art. Many of
Absolutely,
these can
yeah.
help you find people who can help you with different services.
Yes.
So I guess what I'm saying is it provides for any of us, right, regardless what we do for a living, a more efficient way to find answers and to make connections that could be helpful.
Okay.
Give you an example. Like a few days ago, right, we had this huge project, and that will help you understand the connections, about trying to find, Lawrence Tech is 90 years old, right?
Yeah.
And we were trying to find patents for all of our faculty,
Yes.
students, alumni who ever graduated or attended Lawrence Tech,
Okay.
and faculty who used to even work at Lawrence Tech. So it's a historical portfolio
Huge.
of millions or hundreds of thousands of patents, right?
Yes.
How are we going to get a hold of these people? It's impossible, right? So we started thinking small, right? Let's try to find every alumni we have, and we have ways of doing this. Maybe we should do a LinkedIn search to capture alumni that we don't have in our databases. Maybe we should do this and this and this. How about faculty? Let's do a search of every single profile we have on LinkedIn that somebody at some point used to be a faculty. It's a very tough. So we started thinking, right?
Yes.
And then, after like 1 hour of brainstorming,
1 hour.
trying to think about ways to
Other
even
people taking
to-
two
to-
years.
No,
to
but
do
no,
that.
it's even better. No, this is 2 hours just to find out what is the best mechanism to go and find, this and go to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office and provide that and do individual searches with people's names on the USPTO.
Yes.
And then we start thinking, why don't we use one of these generative AI and let it automatically do this for
Wow.
us?
Yeah.
So the job that would have taken, it took us an hour to formulate the problem. And it would have taken 5 or 6 wonderful students, maybe 2 weeks, to basically plug in names of individuals or automatically upload them
Yeah.
into the USPTO or other entities and search for patents. 2 seconds.
Wow.
And these tools were able to do this for us automatically. Capture every name,
With the
plug in the
artificial
name,
intelligence.
plug in the names
Yes.
of everybody into these different search engines, including the US government, and at the end of the day, reduce all the redundancies and come up with a list of 100,000, different patterns.
That's the
So,
great
but-
thing about
Right,
the AI.
and the more that we develop our own thinking about solving problems and oriented towards the fact that there are tools now who can automate processes for us, the more that we will be efficient. Like what I just described to you,
Yes.
that problem that would have taken the time of 5 to 6 students over 2 or 3 weeks period.
It'll take 2 years for people who doesn't have the technology.
To semi-automate the process of finding this portfolio and archive, using that tool saved us all of this time and effort. So now we can look at the portfolio using AI
Yes.
and actually
See?
try to find out even more inside of it, which ones of these patterns are ours, which ones are others, how much these patterns were used to generate economic impact. So we can find the economic impact of every pattern. And again, we don't even need to do that manually anymore. We'll still use these tools to find that for us with the right prompting.
Yeah.
It's a different world.
With all that good things that artificial intelligence given you and the rest of the nation, a lot of people talking about the bad side of it. Can you give me 1 or 2 or 3 point?
Sure.
What's the bad side of it?
Listen, I mean, with every technology, there is good and bad and ugly, I guess.
Oh, true.
But it is all based on our usage of the technology, right? I mean, there is nothing wrong with any. I mean, artificial intelligence is a new calculator, Wally. I mean,
Yes.
or AI tools, or generative AI tools in design, in music generation, and art generation, and text generation, and research. It's a new calculator, right?
Yeah.
Like 10 years from now, or 5 years, or 3 years,
But
the
why
new
the
generation
government
will be using
fighting it?
But
And
so again, it's never the technology; it's the usage, human usage of technology, is what would give rise to the bad and the ugly, right? And again, I mean, we're talking about artificial intelligence. I mean, usage of artificial intelligence and mechanisms in AI for invading privacy is not a good thing, right?
That's right, yeah.
The usage of artificial intelligence, or any technique for that matter,
or to
in-
commit a
in
crime,
develop-
to
of course,
use
commit-
that to, yeah.
or to analyze scenery for
Yes.
potentially committing a crime,
Yes.
or analyzing data for, again, potentially doing harm to an organization or to a human being,
Yeah.
or God forbid, in criminal activity or violent activity. All of these, you cannot blame technology for. You
Yes.
have to blame the human beings, right? So again, I am not really a proponent of scaring people, right? But again, look at history. Every technology that was ever developed, right? Whether it's the phone, whether it's the computer, whether it's, automation in general, have been used incredibly well by humanity for the betterment of communities and societies. But there is always the bad actors.
Is that
and
why the government...
and the bad actors are going to try to utilize the same
Yes.
technology for good reasons. So there is nothing different, Wally, between artificial intelligence and any other technology,
Computers and
electromechanical systems,
Yes.
weaponry, right?
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's the usage that's the
Yes.
issue. That's all. So I don't think it's productive to keep talking about, AI is going to take over. No, it's not going to take over. If humans behave in a civilized manner and exercise the appropriate controls on AI, and if there is 1 or 2 bad players, the totality is going to, of good
But the
players.
benefit of
Yeah.
it's by far
That's the
more
hope.
than,
That's the
yeah,
hope. That's the
minus.
hope.
Yeah.
Again, some people say that with such powerful tools, even if 0.001% of humanity use it in a wrong way, it can affect the 99.99% humanity drastically different. I hope not, right?
Yes,
And
of
that's
course,
why
yeah.
having controls, being able to use common sense and logic, and have the right regulations and compliance measures in place. So the implementation of the technology, artificial intelligence, in security, in automation, in various applications is reasonably regulated is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's absolutely a good thing.
Absolutely.
So I think it's not very productive to talk about killer robots that are autonomous. I think it's more productive to talk about it.
By far the benefit.
The other bad side,
Yeah.
slash maybe not incredibly ugly, that sometimes people talk about is in the area of putting people out of a job, right? And what's going to happen? 90% of jobs are going to be taken by AI, and people are not going to have that. I don't believe in that at all.
Yeah.
You and I are never going to be out of a job because of AI. We might be out of a job because
No, we could advance ourselves to be
no,
part
but
of
what
the
I'm
AI.
saying, so you will
Yeah.
never be replaced, or I be
Yeah.
replaced by artificial intelligence. We're going to be replaced by somebody who knows how to use artificial
Exactly,
intelligence.
yeah.
So put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
Put yourself in the position where you're able to understand and use AI efficiently.
Yes.
Whatever your job is, and you'll become more valuable, and you will save yourself time and put yourself in a situation where you can really do more positive change in your job or career or affecting communities or humanity in general. So again, every other technology.
Are you
whether
are
it's,
you
know,
are you encourage the parents to send their kids to a technology school which teach artificial intelligence, because this is the future?
I think what I would encourage parents in general to do, myself included, is to make sure that the university that their children attends ensures that their children are going to be very well technologically trained in whatever discipline they want to study, which again is what, for example, a university like Lawrence Tech, one out of very few in the country, does. I mean, we teach architecture, we teach psychology, we teach sciences, we
Yes.
teach health sciences and health tech, we teach design, we teach engineer,
Yeah.
we teach all the disciplines, but we ensure that the students coming out from Lawrence Tech in any discipline are very well technologically trained. So my advice to parents is look at universities and institutions that embraces technology and new advances and AI in the curriculum in all the disciplines.
Yes.
Whether your daughter or son want to study design, whether they want to study architecture, whether they want to study sciences, even humanities, or design, or health sciences, make sure that the university or the institution they attend embraces the usage of technology and ensures that their students are going to be very well technologically trained in the future, because every career, every job,
Yes.
in whatever discipline
include
is
technology.
a technology career.
Absolutely.
That's the future.
Yes.
Also, the other point, which I think, maybe two more points, talking about advice to parents.
Sure.
Interdisciplinarity. Make sure that the student goes to a university that exposes them to different fields, not only one field.
Yes.
You want your daughter or son who are going to be an engineer to be well trained and be cognizant of other areas surrounding engineering, ethics, biology and the applications of engineering and biomedical technology, and project management. So it is important for the professional of the future to be conversant and trained in several disciplines while specializing in one. As a roboticist, yes, I'm trained in mechanical electrical engineering, but I had to learn quantitative physiology and anatomy.
That's right,
So I
because that
can
make you
implement
advance.
robotics applications for prosthesis.
Sure.
I had to learn, areas, computing and computer science and programming, so I can program sensors and understand their input to guide unmanned air vehicles. So I had to get out from my comfort zone.
Yes.
I had to learn something about technology and ethics in computing, because some of these autonomous decisions, either on the factory floor or in mobility, will have to be made under certain circumstances, with a very well-designed ethical background. So it's a brand new
Ethical
world.
is very important to you, honestly.
Of course.
And this is.
And
you know,
again, I mean,
yeah.
the professional of the future will have to be trained or be reasonably cognizant and knowledgeable in multiple disciplines
Yes.
in order to be functional. Because most of the careers of the future are very interdisciplinary and they require the knowledge of different disciplines.
Yes.
Whether it's in biomedical or health technology or analytics or nanotechnologies or robotics or or even surgery or
Yeah,
and
course,
all of
yeah.
these fields.
Yeah.
The third and final advice is
Sure.
professionalism. Make sure that the university emphasizes the training of its students in all disciplines, not only to be technological and interdisciplinary, but also teaches students professional skills. Companies and industries and the jobs of the future require people to graduate from college and be ready to work from day one.
That's right. Yeah.
The, the,
Their
the econo-
future is guaranteed.
the economy does not support training new graduates for a year or two before they become productive.
Yeah.
They expect students to come out from the university as good team players. They have great capability in project management. They expect them to read and write very well and be professional in their communication. They expect them to be skilled in various type of areas that would make them valuable leaders. So students need the professional skills
Yes.
when they graduate so they can be functional. That's all.
Finally, Dr. Sobh, if somebody, a student in different state, and probably a lot of them listen to us and heard about the Lawrence Tech technology, probably the first time for them, how could they transfer to your
I mean,
school?
Lawrence Technological University is a very welcoming environment, and
Are you
and
open?
We have students from 40 something states, and
Yeah.
at various points in time we have students from more than 80 countries attending.
Do you
Yep.
do you require something from them before?
No, I mean, again, LTU.edu is a great place to go to. I don't want to sound like a commercial here, but Lawrence Tech is truly a very unique university. We're
Yes.
one of 13 universities in the country that are technological, doctoral, comprehensive, and private.
Okay.
We provide for incredible industry immersion in our programs. Every student go, as you know very well,
Absolutely.
through one or two co-ops or internships.
Yes.
You just asked me for some interns in media communications and broadcasting and before this, and I'll help you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We have amazing students.
Okay.
Highest salary upon graduation of any university, private or public, in the state of Michigan. Increasing enrollment. We're welcoming. We are an elite university, but we're not elitists. We want more students because every executive in this region that I meet, the first thing is they say when they see me is we need more graduates. So we would love to have more students.
We need them for the good economy.
Of course, yeah.
Dr. Sobh, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
For all the information
It's
you've
been a
given
pleasure,
us.
as
Thank
always.
You. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the kind invitation. I truly appreciate
Sure.
it. Thank you, sir.
Dear viewer, that was my interview with the president of Lawrence Tech University, Dr. Tarek Sobh. And he talked so much about technology. And Lawrence Tech, it is the technology. It is in many different ways, and not just one way of technology, probably 6, 7 way of technology. And the university teach you all of them. Honestly, I encourage all the parents. It's in Michigan, but you could transfer. If you are in Tennessee, if you are in California, if you're in Chicago, you could transfer. And if you want a good future for your children, a university that when he go and study and graduate, he'll have a very good job. And good job for the future is Lawrence Tech University. Please, Google it, look at it, and if you want to look, as I mentioned, a better future for your children, send them to Lawrence Tech University. Thanks for watching, and good night.